The next one is titled, Every Company is a Mobile Company. Of course, everybody in this room knows that any other industry out there needs to think about their mobile strategy. And we have a very interesting panel here with 4 speakers from companies that are historically known to have their expertise in other areas of technology. So we have an executive from SAP, we have an executive also from Cisco Systems, Oracle, and Microsoft. And I would like to welcome on the stage Mr. Joe Jason, Managing Director at DNA Partners, who will lead the panel. Thank you, Joe.
All right, why don't we ask the other panelists to come up, please? All right, so I think your food coma is over, and we're going to keep you stimulated with this big co, basically enterprise solutions panel with a curveball Cisco open source. All right, panelists, please come up. Everyone. So while we're waiting for these guys to come up, how many people here are, I want to ask one question, if you're technical or non-technical, so we can kind of skew the questions towards who you are. So how many people here are technical? Okay, non-technical, obviously, we just want to see it. Okay, so we're skewing 80-20 to be generous. Sure. 80 non-technical. All right, let's have a seat, please. Could you arch your chairs? Can you scoot up? Thank you, so I can see everyone. I need eye contact. Is that better? Great, Michael. There we go. I'm going to refer to you guys as your entity, Cisco, SAP, so then people know exactly who's speaking and what representative. All right, so this is the every company is mobile, mobile every company title. So basically that leads us to a wide open topic here, and basically we have enterprise solution companies on the panel. So let's talk about B2B, B2C, B2G initiatives, and let's just quickly talk about the context of where we are in the mobile industry as far as where you guys stand as far as the big three enterprise solution companies. So Microsoft started, Pocket PC approximately 1998 via the compact iPac made by HTC. SAP kind of came in 2004, 2005 via the Wi-Fi days and mobile notebook computer and connect to the databases, and then acquisition of Sybase after that. And then Oracle's back there in 1998, 99 with Oracle Mobile as a separate entity, then folded into Oracle as a whole, and then the acquisition of Sun Microsystems and the whole Java play. So it's been a lot of years for these mobile software companies to be in, or these big co-enterprise software companies to be in mobile. And then Cisco, we kind of draw a line in the sand, and we'll, the CTO of open source will share with us what he's had been going on in mobile for 10 plus years. All these guys on backstage, they all know each other primarily, so we had a very good dynamic discussion leading into 20 minutes before we came on stage. They all feel like they're luminaries in their industry, so it's an honor to have them on stage today, all these high rollers. So maybe we could start with an introduction and maybe a 1 to 2 minute overview of each person. Let's start with Cisco, and please give us your personal bio, and then whatever you'd like to talk about your entity in about 2 minutes, please.
Sure.
And Michael, please grab a mic.
I think this works. Michael
Cisco.
Anescu from Cisco, and my day job is head of open source initiatives, and sort of making sure that our participation in open source communities is a collaborative, participatory, and we get a chance to actually broaden the business opportunities, the developer ecosystem, and the reach to open developers. I've been at Cisco for a while now. I'm happy to say that as a corporation, the company has no particular conviction or religion about networking protocols. We'd like to support all of them. And we'd like to work with the entire ecosystem of service providers and data centers and enterprises and developer programs, of course, where open source makes a lot of sense. It's fascinating to see the growth of endpoint devices. So from a networking perspective, the more the better, and that would drive opportunities for bandwidth and serving that with equipment, services, applications, and whatnot. So we like to think that, just like where open source equals collaboration, the work we do in networking, and particularly protocols and infrastructure, is also based on that.
Excellent. Microsoft?
Yeah, hi, my name is Matt Thompson. I'm the GM for Developer Evangelism at Microsoft. Been at Microsoft for about 3 years. Before that, I was at Sun Microsystems for 18 years, ran the Java ecosystem there. And I guess, the thing for me, and the reason why I'm here is I'm going to be one of the judges on one of the app contests tomorrow. The thing that becomes to me really interesting is how is the entire industry changed? And I just brought a few toys because to me it's much more about showing than talking. So this is a Windows Phone device from Nokia, one of our partners, running our Windows Phone software. And then this is a current generation piece of hardware from Samsung running Windows 8. And the programming model, the UI is all the same. And so what we're looking to do is, and what my job is, what our team's job is, to go get apps. So people who write apps on our platforms, for these kind of platforms, that's what we're really interested in, and that's what I do.
Excellent. Oracle?
My name is Nandini Ramani, and I came to Oracle through the Sun acquisition. So I've been there roughly about 3 years, 2.5, something like that. At Sun Microsystems, I started out doing hardware, and then from there I've moved to Java ME, did mobile for many, many years. And since the acquisition, I now currently run the Java client, embedded, and mobile platform groups. So one of the things the point that Michael was making about Cisco and networking, my perspective, my team spans not just mobile, and the concept of mobility with the Internet of Things, I think, spans far wider than just the tablets and phones. It's all these different edge devices and the type of things that keep us connected. Given, like in the late 90s, we had the internet of PCs and the web, and then we had connectivity of people, and now I think we're connected not just with tablets and phones, but also with devices that control things around you and you have no idea they exist. And there's mobility that spans beyond just, you really get to control so many things around you is also, I think, indirectly mobile. But anyway, that's what my team does, and mostly around Java.
SAP.
My name is Nick Brown. My name is Nick Brown. I manage mobile strategy and solution management at SAP. So focused on kind of two core areas within the company, that is mobile application portfolio. So what apps will SAP build around the enterprise for employee-facing applications, business partner applications, consumer, customer, or citizen, depending on what entity you are, helping you mobilize your enterprise across all those spaces. And I also like the concept of M2M. So how do these machines start to play a role in interacting with mobile users, whether they're consumers or employees? It's a huge frontier. It's going to be very busy, I think, for all of us. So at SAP, we are focused around kind of 3 key areas for mobile, and a 4th one I'll talk about as well quickly. One is securing the enterprise. So how do I help you secure the transport of all this data, all this functionality you want to deliver out to these mobile users and their mobile endpoints, whatever that might be, their car, their toaster, their refrigerator, what have you. You want to get that information out wherever they are, whenever, to really move your business forward. The second is really a platform that helps you innovate and build those applications, whether you're building for Microsoft's new platform, as we're doing, or Android, BlackBerry, or obviously iOS might be something you think about on occasion. And how do we deliver apps onto those devices, leveraging a platform against all of those endpoints, whether it's a customer, employee, or consumer. And then finally, a portfolio of applications, that we can deliver into the enterprise that are prepackaged, ready to go, whether you're deploying those, in the cloud or on-premise, using SAP technology and our partners' capabilities as well.
All right. Hello?
1 testing, 1 2 3.
All right, excellent overview of myself. My name's Joe Jason. I'm a partner at DNA Partners, and we are a seed investment firm looking into digital media distribution companies, USA and China. And my personal background has been over a decade in mobile, from corporate investing with SK Telecom to working with enterprise solutions with Nextel as formal employees of these two entities. And then I've done a mobile startup software company in 2000, and it was enterprise. And I had a successful exit out of that, so it was great back then. So it was Java related. So I'm glad we're all here. I'm glad we're able to participate with the luminaries here. So get your questions ready after I ask maybe one or two questions here. We have 18 minutes left. So I think let's start with Microsoft. And really, what would you like to highlight to this international crowd today? I mean, really, it sounds like you've had some great momentum in Europe, just with Windows 8 and the development around it in your application store. So just share with us really like what you'd like to spotlight.
Yeah, to me, it's all about the apps. We're 7 days away from launching what we think is probably the greatest developer platform opportunity on the planet with Windows 8. For those of you who haven't seen what the Surface looks like, this is current generation, the next generation hardware running Windows 8, available pre-order today. Absolutely phenomenal device. We see that as kind of the beginning of that next generation of mobile platform, along with the Windows Phone 8 devices that we've announced with our partners, HTC and Nokia and a few others. The notion is that it really is all about the app. So I am not a hardware guy. Nandini started in hardware and moved to software. I've been a software guy my whole life. I started with compilers and debuggers and things like that. To me, it's all about the innovation that's happening in communities like this. That's why I'm here. I'm extremely interested in looking at the app contest here and seeing the kind of innovation that people are bringing to the platforms. And mobile, by the way, people are talking about is Microsoft locked in kind of that laptop, desktop market? Mobile's the future. We know that. Mobile backed by cloud is the entire next generation of innovation that we're going to see.
But we've been reading about that for a long time, that Microsoft is mobile, and all mobile people report to Steve Ballmer in 2006, and we bought these companies and we're mobile, and please let me finish my monologue here. So
your soliloquy.
So we've been hearing it for a long time. I think the audience, and I'm generalizing here, of course, but just from the touch points that I've had this morning and last night at dinner, is we have positive intent for Microsoft. We want a third player. We want another player. So why this time? Why is it better this time?
Mainly because they reimagine Windows, right? So it is the platform now. Whereas you could have argued that before, Windows running on a laptop and a desktop was really its main form factor. Today, you look at the form factor and it's on mobile devices. And I think when you look at the company, as Windows goes, as the rest of the company goes. And I think that's really why you're seeing, and again, I've only been there 3 years, so I look at this and say, I joined a new Microsoft. I don't know what the old Microsoft was. I actually competed against the old Microsoft for a decade. The reason why I joined was because of that commitment to cloud and new platforms.
Because of the commitment to cloud, okay.
And the new platforms.
All right. Well, that brings me to a notion with SAP. I had a chance to talk with you before, and how you have great partnerships with companies like Box, and you're very open-minded to working with your customer base and those CIOs of those customer bases, and then third-party vendors like Box. Could you just elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing in the marketplace as we talk to CIOs is kind of half of them are trying to catch up with their user base, whether that's the CEO that just walked in the office and said, hey, my MIT grad that works in my office has built this great new app, and the CIO's going like, how did that happen? Right? And reacting to that, and all the users saying, hey, I've got this great device, I know how to use it, the training costs are really low for the community because, your children or your grandkids teach you how to use these devices. So we see that, and we see this broad reach of the consumer. So people are using, Box and different technologies around the world, and we need to embrace those to leverage that in our install base. Same thing with Microsoft technologies and maybe Oracle as well. We'll have a different comment there, but it's really a revolution, and I believe the user focus is important. If users are using these things, IT wants to embrace and secure them as quickly as possible, and obviously not introduce risk to the company, and that's happening. And so we want to join that revolution. We want to support it. and make sure that it's not just about mobilizing SAP. We have a lot of content and a lot of business. 70% of the world's chocolates manufactured on SAP systems, but there's a few other things involved in processes, right? So sure. Other systems are there, other partners are important to us, and we just want to make sure that SAP is an innovation platform that developers can build mobile apps on top of, and that it connects to not just SAP backend systems, but also other systems that are out there in the landscape of our customers.
Yeah, it feels like your end-to-end solution is quite open to third-party vendors and even other enterprise software solution makers.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at events like this where you have thousands of developers out there mobilizing all kinds of business processes or consumer-focused applications, and you want to harness that innovation to the broadest extent you possibly can. And the platform we got in our many recent acquisitions is helping us reach out to those global communities of mobile developers and get them on board, helping our customers mobilize their enterprise.
Okay, all right. All right, let's hear from Oracle and, via Larry Ellison and the Art of War.
Well, I don't want to be quoted on that, but I think SAP and Oracle, despite our differences, ultimately I think have a very similar, a lot of what he just finished saying is applicable to Oracle as well, and we're also doing the same thing, but I think the problem is multifaceted, right? One part of mobile enterprise is how do you, just as we did when the PCs came, the advent of the PCs, people started taking their laptops to go everywhere versus having workstations that stayed put. That brings in security, it brings in so many factors, which the industry adapted to, and Oracle clearly did, as did Sun. And I think now with mobile, it's twofold. One is your applications that you build for customers. How do you make that in such a fashion that it's easy to maintain that software and it can be ported to different devices? And with something like iOS, there's only one device, but if you go to Android, there's so many different flavors. Anybody you talk to, it's quite a maintenance nightmare. And so how do you make it easy, not just internally for us to port our applications, but also for our customers? How do you make an interface that's common for them to use? And we use the Advanced Development Framework from Oracle. That's our mobile solution, and that's what we use. That's one aspect of it. And then, of course, there's security. We have tie-ins with IDM and all the other groups within Oracle, so that as a consumer of it, whether you're just a consumer building applications or you're a heavyweight, big enterprise consumer, you don't have to worry about this, whether it's secure and, and I know when I use the cloud word, it's probably going to get some jeering from the audience and the panelists, but we also tie into our back-end cloud interface, and so a lot of those details are taken care of. That's one aspect, and then we have a whole community aspect to it with Java. Speaking of open source, well, Java is all open source. We have Java Card for security, which is deployed on many wireless modules and things like that. So it's more pervasive than just the Oracle applications reaching the mobile devices. It's also us providing a secure runtime and platform for feature phones, for embedded wireless modules, gateways, and Cisco voice over IP phones, and it's far beyond just...
This is great. This is a B2B, B2G, B2C, all-encompassing.
Exactly.
And all the app developers out there may be able to use your infrastructure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's hear from Michael from Cisco, and let's hear some groovy initiatives, some progressive open source that the audience can understand. Don't get too technical on us, but I know there's some good open source initiatives. And then please do tell the audience in layman's terms about the acronym LISP, L-I-S-P.
Absolutely. Lisp is contrary to most computer scientists would think as Lisp as the AI language. It's a location identity separation protocol. It's the long-held tenet that in networking there's two very important things: where you are and who you are, in order for you to do meaningful things across the network, from endpoint device to endpoint device. And Lisp attempts to separate those to the degree that it allows you to first of all roam or find yourself first where you are, and then to identify who exactly you are there. Lisp, think of it as essentially an over-the-top, an overlay network approach that would allow a Lisp device, a Lisp mobile node as it were, while keeping a network connection active, such as a voice call or a browser active or a quote, whatever application that needs a network connectivity, you can actually roam at speed across different networks, different environments in the enterprise, outside of the enterprise, over multiple network providers, something that you cannot do today.
Let's do a John Chambers example. I know this is one of his little babies, so please draw out an example of what that means in a user experience.
Sure. For example, if you are in a commuter vehicle or in an urban area, and you are going from within one network to another. If you're entering the enterprise or exiting the door, you're jumping in your car or commuter vehicle, and you have an active connection on your phone that you are simultaneously transacting on or talking on, right? You can do both. So multi-homing, you know, something that
So I'm at my office at Disney.
Yep.
And I'm on the network there, which my IT guy put me on that,
Getting
right?
a session with Mickey Mouse
and I hop on to Virgin America Airlines, and you keep the thread for me on, right? So that's what Lisp, okay? You keep that continuous thread like a cellular handoff.
Yes, the connection does not terminate, and you go across whatever network provider, service provider, you know, and so on. That is the key value of it, and there are others as well. A key one that gets often overlooked, it's the migration from IPv4 to IPv6, which is the idea that, you know, this migration has been extremely challenging. You know, there's a lot of, you know, the internet has been very successful and over a generation now. And when you achieve that kind of success, going out to the entire world to say you're going to change to, you know, IPv6 equipment overnight is not easy. And so this allows you to make the transition smoothly over the top, where you have a mixture of equipment in there. So part of the location, well, I should say, so the location gets baked.
I can go from Starbucks in Beijing to Starbucks in Palo Alto, and I can keep my thread.
And if you'd like to, if your battery lasts that long, right, in an airplane, you can certainly do that. So this is important. So the address now contains half of it or so contains your location representation, and half of it your identity.
Okay.
So people that get involved in security things, enterprise compute, networking, provisioning, content providers, now they have a lot of interesting services, network services that did not exist there before, to your disposal.
So the professionals out in the audience that are non-technical, how and why should they grab onto Lisp, and who should they contact?
Oh, absolutely. We have the Lisp MN is an open source project. If you just search on that right now, you can download the code. So any mobile device that actually wants to implement Lisp MN, and that includes, you know, of course, Microsoft and Apple and all of those guys, can look at this code and work with it. It transforms your mobile node into a multi-home, you know, roaming device that can act as a, you know, hotspot multi-device.
Okay, so that's John Chambers, you know.
No, that was the technical view.
You as CTO at Cisco in open source, tell us what you are proud of lately.
Oh, absolutely. I think by far the biggest challenge, and this is not just for Cisco, for anybody, you know, you can be very good at open collaboration, open partnerships. You can be very good at open standards, which in the case of a networking company is key, right? You know, the protocols have to be open and you know, no IPR, no encumbrance over it. It's very hard to keep the balance between all three: open standards, open source, open developer programs. So the big mantra that we have there is to, you know, I refer to it as the yin and the yang, the relationship between open standards and open source, particularly in this networking business. You have to not only agree on how you're going to exchange that information, but you have to make that reference implementation wide openly available to anybody, regardless of the platform, regardless of the content being provisioned or the networking technology.
All right, now that's a philosophy. What project are you proud of right now?
I think by far the contributions that we've made to the Linux stack, and LispMN is one of them. I think the contributions we've made to Apache, Spam Assassin, is awesome. So spam assassin is one of the earliest projects in Apache, without which I think most of the email, sort of scan detectors have that. You know, in Eclipse, certainly the modeling of network technologies in TigerStripe is a good example. And over the history, over 25 years at Cisco, we have a long history of protocol placement into a variety of open source projects, ranging from the BSD versions and Linux.
Okay.
And
Okay, excellent.
yeah. We have about 100 projects that we actively contributed in, but you know, we don't necessarily do a very good job at marketing that as it's in our best, you know, we want to talk about protocols, right? I mean, this discussion was about LispMN because, you know, the networking guys and the content guys, they all need to know about it. In open source, we prefer the, you know, the running code that we contribute do the talking for us.
Okay, all right. We have 3 minutes and 46 seconds left. Would SAP like to say anything? Kind of spice up to the audience here?
Well, we're very excited to work with everybody in the community to drive mobile innovation on top of the enterprise, right? I think I can only tell you that enterprises have a lot of money to spend in this space. I think if you look at the trending in the enterprise, mobile used to be down somewhere below 20 on their priority list. It's currently number 2, probably be number 1 next year. I think a lot of CIOs are under pressure to deliver mobile innovation in the enterprise to both their employees as well as the consumer or customer or citizen, whatever industry they're in, and focus. And so think about that. There's a huge trend towards spending money, towards solving these problems, and I think you can be a player in that infrastructure and in that application. I think if you focus, like Microsoft said, I agree with this, on the user. What's the user you're going to go after? How are you going to make their life easier? And how can you help the CIO easily and seamlessly implement that change and that revolution, that game-changing function into their business? SAP is all about helping developers do that and move that forward against both SAP and non-SAP back-end systems and onto, pretty much any device, whether you're doing an SMS solution or a rich mobile application. We're excited to help you.
And then on that note, you have SAP Accelerator, you have SAP Incubator, you have SAP Ventures. So I noticed that I think speed of deployment is important for these CIOs, and SAP is getting heat for that. So that leaves room for the application developers to assist you, SAP, in working with these CIOs, and they could participate in Ventures or Incubator.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have an Incubator program, we have SAP Ventures, and partners are key. If we look at the application landscape, we think our customers demand we deliver some innovation and applications there. I see them more as an example of what you can do on the platform, and the innovation's left up to you and the community, whether it's a regional expertise, industry sub expertise that you can bring to the table. We can't cover that landscape. I think SAP's finally maybe admitted that to ourselves. And so our ecosystem and our partner community and investments we can make there is very, very strategic for us to be successful in this marketplace.
Excellent. And I think Microsoft has a Bing fund.
Yeah, so we do have our Bing fund. We also partner with the top 20 incubators in the United States. That's actually what my team does. We've got partnerships with 500 startups, YC, a bunch of other ones, Dogpatch Labs, Techstars, et cetera. We're always looking for the next great startup. And I guess, the one thing I would say when we talk about apps, the thing we didn't talk about here is what's happening from enterprise to consumer. We see, design has become everything. So the consumerization of IT, it's no longer happening. It's done.
Okay.
The idea that you can have an enterprise app that doesn't look like something you want to use at home, unforgivable at this point.
Okay, excellent. Is there a question in the audience burning for Oracle? Come on, is there a question for the panel?
I'm really glad that Oracle decided to join the cloud generation.
Matt is a challenger. He's an instigator.
Always.
So
Rabble-rouser.
So any question for these enterprise guys? Come on. Question? I can't quite see. Question? All right, we're down to 13 seconds. Does the press want to take any pictures of the luminaries while they're up on stage? All right. Well, thank you very much for joining the panel, and thanks for coming to our session. And that was it. So thanks, Great Wall Club.